Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number 952. I've brought into the studio the cigar box guitar. October 26, 2022. 83 degrees on this day in 1955. And 16 degrees on this day in 1962. And wait, the last 80 is within our reach.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you when.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner.
Hi.
Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop. John Heidt in the newsroom. And, of course, the Rookie.
Find out
Here
here,
is
Rook.
your flashlight king, fireworks
Wheel
commissioner,
of thought.
and the keeper of common sense,
How can it be that difficult?
Joe
Just fired up my
Sushi.
computer. What now? What do you need?
Oh, I want to know more about John Fetterman. Is he married? Does he have kids? Does he have parents? Does he have someone who could rescue him from this tragedy? How do you
He is
avoid...
married. I remember his wife being part of the story.
He was born in West Reading, Pennsylvania in 1969. His spouse, Giselle Barreto Fetterman, they were married in 2008.
Okay.
I don't believe it lists. They have 3 children. 3 children.
Does it look like he's still married?
It does look like he's still married.
Okay. This Fetterman is running a guy named against a guy named Oz,
Dr. Oz.
about whom I know very little.
Oprah made him famous.
Why is he? What kind of is he? A special
She
doctor?
was a consultant He was a consultant on her show and a frequent guest and lifestyle doctor.
He's
and
a heart
became-
specialist.
Is he literally an MD?
Yes.
Yes. And
Why
then
is he hated by the left?
Because he's a righty.
Oh,
He took off. He did his own show, Dr. Oz show.
okay.
And so he stayed in the limelight. I'm not sure what his current status is with Oprah.
See, sometimes it pays off that you have to watch that crap.
That's in case.
Right.
Research and development, man.
That's right.
Just
That's
in case.
R&D, baby.
Yes.
Now, Rook, give us a thorough background on Dr. Phil.
No,
Dr. Phil.
No, I don't have time. Give me more.
But
Give
it's
me
in
more
the
on.
bank. If you need it, it's in the bank.
Give me more on Oz.
He came under fire for some. It was the products he was promoting. They weren't 100%.
Snake oil type stuff.
Yes, and I don't know specifically. I just know that he came under fire. I'm not sure if he was sued, if they settled, or what. I can do research on that.
And has he previously held office?
No.
Fetterman's been a mayor and the lieutenant governor.
Yes.
All right. He's an odd-looking fellow. He looks like
Here's what's really weird.
like somebody from the Addams
I have
Look
family.
at his. Isn't that an odd choice of attire for your official photo on Wikipedia?
Yes, it looks like he just came off his shift at the Shell station.
Yes.
This is dated October 7th of this year. According to a report, Dr. Oz was the lead scientist in a years-long animal study that experimented on over 1,000 live animals. That number included the death or euthanizing of 31 pigs, 661 rabbits, and more than 329 dogs. A veterinarian involved with the study was appalled by the treatment of the animals and turned whistleblower, alleging widespread mistreatment of the animals that included needless pain and suffering. Oz was the principal investigator on the Columbia University study.
What was Oz attempting to heal?
Not sure, but the USDA eventually reached a 2004 settlement with the university for violations of the Animal Welfare Act. That included a fine of $2,000.
And was Oz staff, anyone, was Oz, was he recruited to run for this Senate seat? Is this something he's aspired to forever? Or where'd he come
He
from?
came out of nowhere. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, well, and I also, if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't have a residence, right, in Pennsylvania? He lives in New Jersey, and he uses an address in Pennsylvania that's a relative or something.
Well, isn't that
of that
illegal?
I don't like that.
So I think he was I don't know about recruited. That's a weird word, but I think, yes, they asked him.
You got to give yourself permission to be recruited to run for office
No, that's
in a
Dr.
state.
Phil.
Oh,
Fetterman,
they're all the same to me.
Fetterman said his dad was a partner at an insurance firm. He grew up in an affluent suburb of York, and his parents were conservative Republicans. He had a self-described privileged upbringing and said he has sleepwalked through his young adulthood, playing 4 years of football in college and eventually taking over his father's business.
Dr. Oz has credited the pandemic as his inspiration to run, saying COVID has shown us that our entire system is broken. I am trying to help cure our country's ills. We've lost too many lives, too many jobs, and too many opportunities because Washington got it wrong, Oz said in a statement. They took away our freedom without making us safer and tried to kill our spirit and our dignity.
Does he have Trump's endorsement?
I do not know the answer to that.
That just killed it for Jensen in this state. He just got Trump's endorsement. Yeah. That's not going to work in this state.
It's like coming on this show.
Yeah.
So did Kim Crockett, right? Didn't
Yes.
she also get Trump's endorsement?
Yeah,
So,
Crockett Jensen.
so the voters of Pennsylvania are faced with the choice between a television doctor or a doctor who has fancied himself a television personality.
Celebrity.
Would that be a correct way to
Yes.
say it?
Yep.
And a fellow who hasn't done much of anything except he has held public office. He's married. His name's John Fetterman. He's a committed leftist, and he's had the misfortune to have suffered a stroke this summer. And here are some clips from what was called a debate. There are no debates anymore. These are just question and answer sessions. They're not really debates. So you take it away there, Reavers.
This one, Fetterman was asked about not paying his taxes, and this was his answer.
Mr. Fetterman, I will allow a 15-second rebuttal. He has specifically said you have not paid your taxes and that you want to raise taxes on Americans. How do you respond?
Absolutely. The Oz rule, of course, he's lying. It was helping two students 17 years ago to help them buy their own homes. They didn't pay the bills, and it got her paid, and it has never been an issue in any of the campaign before. It was all about nonprofit.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fetterman. Continue.
You have another clip?
I do.
Are you less confused on that, or
This
More.
all right?
hold on, let me see if I can find. Okay, he was asked about his stroke and whether he has been. I believe.
What about the one where he's introduced?
I'm going to
Are you
get
saving that one?
That one's going to be last. On his stroke and his current condition.
Pennsylvania. Here's a man that spent more than $20 million of his own money to try to buy that seat. I'm also having to talk about something called the Oz rule, that if he's on TV, he's lying. He did that during his career on his TV show. He's done that during his campaign about lying about our record here. And he's also lying probably during this debate. And let's also talk about the elephant in the room. I had a stroke. He's never let me forget that. And I might miss some words during this debate, mush two words together, but it knocked me down, but I'm going to keep coming back up. And this campaign is all about, to me, is about fighting for everyone in Pennsylvania that ever got knocked down, that needs to get back up, and fighting for all forgotten communities all across Pennsylvania that also got knocked down.
Well, he's got that down. He's a fighter. He's going to fight for you.
He's going to fight.
They all fight for you. All right.
And then this is 30 seconds. I can't remember. This is not properly labeled, but this was another 30 seconds after he was asked a question.
Mr. Oz, I do want to clarify something. You're saying tonight that you support.
This is a very confusing one because if I'm hearing this correctly, the moderator is addressing this question to Oz.
Correct.
He remains silent as Fetterman answers the question. So I'm a bit puzzled by this. Listen carefully. I think she asked Oz this question.
Mr. Oz, I do want to clarify something. You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand and I do support fracking.
Okay.
But wasn't that addressed to Oz?
Yes, specifically. The other troubling aspect of this is, and you can't see it obviously as a listener, but he's reading off of a teleprompter.
But as a committed leftist, steered by the committed left, he shouldn't be supporting fracking.
No, that's a good point.
That's true.
All right, and finally?
Maybe it's a local issue, though.
The question was asked, what qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator?
All right.
What qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody.
What?
That's the intro, right? I think that's the
Yeah.
beginning of the debate, correct?
Yep.
Is there any more on what qualifies him to be a senator?
That was the clip that I got from the website you recommended.
Okay.
Clever
Hi,
editing.
good night, everybody.
Are you sure the website is... What website is it?
Those were just Twitter versions of what he said.
That first one is how it went, Kenny. I saw the
That's
whole
real.
clip.
Okay.
That's the first thing he said was good night. And then,
Okay.
and then he continued to answer the question. So.
In the same vein
So he
that we
meant to
mentioned
say
this-
good. He meant to say good evening.
Right.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a
Okay.
slip up, you
But
know.
All right.
the same
all right.
thing that we say about the president, at least the same thing I say about the president, how I just find it troubling and I think it's sad. That's the same viewpoint I have with Fetterman.
Okay, but here's
Given
what
his
I wonder.
condition.
Here's what I wonder. Where in God's name are we? What is happening? You got Herschel Walker, who's clearly damaged from a football career.
Right.
If 5 will get you 10, he's got horrific CTE. He's nuts. And then you got this crackpot Fetterman. God bless him, he had a stroke. But you mean to tell me you can't find the Democratic Party in Pennsylvania couldn't find a candidate who didn't have a stroke? Wouldn't it be better for Fetterman and his long-term health to say, you know, you might have a political career, but let's get you all healed up here? What is going on here? I don't understand anything. I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't understand why after he had the stroke, they didn't immediately move to a different candidate and do exactly what you just said.
We all know the answer to
Let
that.
him heal.
We all
I
know the
didn't
answer
know.
to that.
What is it? Sympathy vote?
Partially, but they're not going to. They're this far into what's a very important seat.
I think Fetterman will win, by the way.
Well, whatever, but they're too far in now where they say, well, we can't change course because we're starting all over again.
Well, they could have started in July or whenever he had the stroke.
He had the stroke, months ago.
Right, but this is years in the making.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Well, he was considered a very strong Democratic candidate until the stroke.
Until the stroke.
In a way, Chris is right. But yeah, why not at that point go, hang on, let's wait, let's let him heal.
Because
and
you
nominate
guys
somebody
know
else.
it's more important to that party that seat is occupied by someone. They don't care who it is. As long as it's someone that's occupied.
Neither do the Republicans.
That's what
who
I'm
they're
saying.
running.
That's what I'm saying. If Dr. Oz had a stroke, John, the right would be doing the exact same thing.
Well, they're doing it with Herschel. The Republicans don't have the balls to say we shouldn't be running Herschel Walker. He's goofy.
Why do the Republicans have such poor candidates?
Why do they all have such poor candidates?
Okay, I'll give you that.
There's
But
plenty to go around. Yeah.
I mean, you'd think we'd have
That's
better
why
than
I
Dr.
said.
Oz.
That's why I asked the rhetorical question.
What the hell is going on?
Where in God's name are we? Why are these the candidates? Well, go to the last presidential election. Biden and Trump were the candidates.
Those were
Are you
not the two
kidding
most
me?
powerful men in America. No.
Well, forget
How about
power.
somebody younger than 70?
Well, how
That'd be
about
nice.
just someone who's sane and has health?
Be a nice start.
You're asking a lot, Joe.
I guess I am.
Well, there's an interesting piece in the op-ed today, Such. Are Republicans necessary?
Right.
And it talked about Biden's speech saying there's two Republicans, the mainstream and the MAGA. That holds true for the left, too. There's the normal old left, what they used to be called as progressive, and now there's the new commie socialist left.
Yeah, and I think the handlers of the commie socialist left, they see an ally in Fetterman, because he's going to be, if nothing else, he's going to be entirely malleable. He's going to be like Biden. He's going to do what he's told by the people behind the scenes, because he can't even think straight right now. And you would think that his wife, or by now he probably has a child in the late teens, you would think somebody would have gone to him and say, honey, you're looking foolish, and you've got a lot of healing ahead of you. Why don't we work on that? And then maybe years from now, you're still a young guy, you decide whether you want a political career or not.
Okay, so the first part of your answer could also be said about the Republican Party. If you have the endorsement of Trump, you're going to be handled and controlled by that side of the Republican Party. Correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. But there's no future for Herschel. There's no sunrise for Herschel's. Only going to get worse if I'm correct in that he has suffered too much from playing football. There's going to be no bright spot for him.
I'll take it a step further. There's no future for this country if this nonsense continues.
I agree. This is why I'm bringing this up. Where are we? What has happened to us that these are the candidates? This isn't Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This is pathetic.
Is it the Gary Hart phenomenon taken to the nth degree?
Well, I can't remember. That's getting to be so long ago. Gary Hart was a senator, correct?
Right. The general story is, I'm innocent, follow me. They did. And
then some chick was sitting on his lap.
Yeah, and so now we're digging in so deep and so personal and so far back that, and all of us have skeletons, right? Most of us do.
I ain't running for office.
And maybe they're afraid of that.
And that's
Joe. You're the one that talks to young people around town all the time. What do they say to you when you say you need to run?
Well, my favorite answer from one of the guys who I think would be strongest is, yeah, but there were the 90s.
Right.
Meaning he would be raked over the coals.
Right.
But there's not a soul alive that has a perfect background. But it gets back to no one qualified truly wants to do the job.
Well, you just touched on it. Have we reached this point where you have Herschel Walker and John Fetterman because sane, reasonable, GL-type people say, I'm not putting myself through this?
Yes.
I think that's the answer.
That is the answer.
And you're left with this?
And it's almost become a celebrity-type status when you're elected to that position of the political class, right? Don't you guys think?
Yes,
Look
absolutely.
at the squad. You're seeing it on both sides of the political aisle.
Celebs. They become famous people.
Being famous.
Yeah.
They're almost reality television stars.
The Kardashians are famous for being famous. They
What would you
can't
like to
sing,
know about them?
they can't dance, they can't act.
Well, one of them can.
They don't do anything. They're famous for being famous.
Beginning of the end for the world.
Ooh, we're getting a theory today?
I'm closer.
We're getting closer.
One day closer.
We're one day closer to the theory, but so much has happened to our society since I developed the theory.
That it's true?
That I know. Yeah, it would be redundant to even say it now. I have to refine my theory. I think the answer is that good, solid, caring people don't want any part of this BS.
Nope.
Well, that's really going to kill us. It's
because
over.
all those euphorians are going to fill those slots. They're going to
The lifetime activists are going to look at this as this is their career.
Okay, something that really sticks in my craw. Why wasn't Kendall Qualls nominated? What are they so afraid of with him? Could he possibly be too independent-minded and not be controlled by the far right? What was the deal there?
I think that in that case, Kenny, I think it was a case of Burke had pretty decent celebrity status here in the state of Minnesota, and Jensen had a pretty strong following. That's what I believe. Because I've asked myself the same question, because Qualls would be running away with this right now.
Absolutely. Joe?
I don't know. I'm terribly unimpressed with the Minnesota Republican Party.
Oh, I'm angry at them.
I'm unimpressed for a variety of reasons, going back to John Thompson.
You're being polite.
Yeah.
Well, Schultz is a good candidate.
And I'm unimpressed that Republicans, generally speaking, haven't had the courage to say Trump's an idiot and we don't want any part of it. Only Liz Cheney seems to be saying that, and she gets hated by the pro-Trump people. But, I don't trust anybody anymore about anything. So for all I know, she has ulterior motives. And we're just in a really, really bad way. A really bad way. And you have people in Pennsylvania that are going to elect this disturbed fellow. I predict Fetterman will win because I don't know why I predict that. I just predict it. Because the left is propping him up. The New York Times defends him, as you might expect. They had staffers being interviewed on TV last night who were excusing his hesitancy and his confusion, saying, well, that's normal for a stroke. Yes, it probably is. But wasn't there a day in America when your pride would have said, look, I just had a stroke, man. I can't even tell the moon from a bowl of spaghetti right now. I got to have a lot of healing time. And no, I'm not going to run.
Yeah. Well, I think whoever was it, Rook, who made the point that it's such a big seat and everything that he basically never had a chance to do that, unfortunately, to step back. Whereas 40 years ago, they said, yeah, step back for a little bit, heal yourself. We'll nominate somebody else.
Well, I can say this, and I don't care what position it is, whether you're running for Congress, whatever the case might be. I want someone in that type of position, whether you're a mayor of a fictitious town, I want you to speak coherently.
Hello, everybody.
No, stop practicing. Jack and Lori have been doing this 100 years. Act like it. Did it start?
Wait, hit the play.
Where's?
Hello, everybody.
Podcast number 1.
Hello, everybody.
Was that podcast number 1?
Sure was. Mm-hmm. That's when we got the, is it the emoji? No, not the emoji. The GIF of the guy with the plane that was trying to take off.
With one wing or something?
Yeah, but it was still under construction.
People are running after us with wrenches. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
How are
everybody? I think that's going to be on a T-shirt next year.
Oh, there we go, Johnny. Good call. Well, what are you going to do?
Well, Mr. Fetterman, why do you think you're capable of being a U.S. Senator? Good night, everybody.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. Yeah. It's not even fun to make fun because there's nothing to make fun of.
No.
There's nothing to make fun of
except
I'm making fun of our country. We are falling apart.
At the seams.
From top to bottom, we're falling apart. And I never thought I'd see this. We've always rebounded. And maybe we'll rebound again. But can you imagine Herschel Walker and John Fetterman in the Senate? Well, at least they'd cancel each other out.
We've got a couple of clients that are businessmen here that would be wonderful, wonderful politicians for this state. Let's talk about it off the air first before we out them on the air.
I know many business people
but they're both named Mike.
and he's no dummy.
And one of them might have the philosophy of there was the 90s.
But they're both brilliant,
yeah,
and
but
they've
Mike
got great
took care
ideas.
of that by moving out of St. Paul. So he's now looking at legislative career, state career, and I don't think he's interested. And I have no business speaking for him, but I know him well enough to know that he's no dummy. He's not going to put himself through this BS.
Right. The other Mike would be wonderful.
Yes, yes.
Oh, goodness.
Is he going to put himself through the BS?
No, I wouldn't blame him if he said no.
The family of Volkswagen SUVs are in stock and arriving daily. I told you the kid I used to have really wants the Atlas. You know what, kid? Work harder. You're just going to have to. You're just going to have to get some more dough. Huh?
Here we go.
You have to get some more dough.
Wow, that is cold.
I'm talking about the family of Volkswagen SUVs at Schmelz Countryside of Maplewood on the corner of Highway 36 and 61. The Taos, the Tiguan. We're talking all-wheel drive, IQ drive, advanced safety systems. You know what I'm saying? Winter will become a non-factor, especially with that family-size 7-passenger Atlas with 5,000-pound towing capability. The all-electric Volkswagen ID4 SUV, named the 2021 World Car of the Year if you're a candidate. Schmelz is a multi-generational dealership. They don't have 50 stores. This is it. That's why they stay in business, through extraordinary service, great people. And I've shopped there for years, and I will continue to. I have 2 Schmelz vehicles in the stable right now, both of which have to visit there before winter, and I'll get that done. At Schmelz Countryside in Maplewood, and you can find out much more at schmelzvw.com.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
You cannot
Wait
pigeonhole
a
this
minute.
piece of music.
I was going to say Santana.
No, it doesn't sound like anybody. It sounds like Dill.
Isn't this the one with vocals?
Yes,
Maybe not. Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, I did find out who that is.
Who is it?
It's Trevor, a kid he works with who used to live here, who makes his own records, and a gal that I'm not familiar with.
Matthew should give him some songwriting advice. All songs need to start with what, Matthew?
I woke up this morning.
Right.
Or
It's the season.
It's the season.
That is brilliant.
So, big day yesterday. The 49 Minneapolis Moline narrow front UTU got another Seafoam deep creep shower. Sprayed it on every nut and bolt I could find. Blasted the remaining bit in the can into the spark plug holes. Then got out the engine treatment and poured a whole bottle down the intake neck. So if I ever do get around to tearing this pig down, it'll be ready for wrenching. A couple of great products from Seafoam. They not only keep engines running great engines running great, I should say, but it's also a wonderful cure for what ails malfunctioning cylinders. I should be dumping that tranny tune into the gearbox if I could ever find out how to get in there. I actually trust Seafoam more than my mechanical ability. You can too. Whether you've been wrenching for years or you're trying to attempt a big scary project for the first time, Seafoam will help you out. And you'll find it everywhere. Fine chemicals are sold, even where they're not. C-stores, grocery stores, you name it. A local company, a global reach, and a wonderful product in a world of bad gas. Seafoam.
Back to the beginning.
Because that's the way it works.
Well, it's a shorter clip.
Kenny, we've talked about it many times, but the examples of it are becoming terribly obvious. You were wondering yesterday about bias.
Yeah.
There's a great example of bias. I'm calling it bias. Perhaps it's not. You tell me. On today's editorial page of the Star Tribune, I would submit to you, the closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, what I'm about to point out would not be at all uncommon in the newspapers that are still surviving in this country. For example, the play letter to the editor has a headline says, Moriarty, not Dimmick.
Right.
And it's a letter written by a woman who believes that Mary Moriarty is the answer, and because this woman is anti-police and believes we'll never police our way out of gun violence, and she says, I'm a gun violence survivor, and she manages to find great fault with the police, and Mary reached out to me because she wanted to know my experience during the criminal trial, and it goes on to say, sadly, many voters have fallen victim to a well-funded misinformation campaign designed to frighten wealthy whites into voting for law and order candidates. So this woman has had the Kool-Aid, Rachel Joseph, and she's an well, she denied that, but lady, you're showing your true colors. You think law and order is some sort of code word, and it isn't. People want safety. And so she goes on to plug the hell out of Moriarty. All right. I'll get to the bias part in a moment. The second letter to the editor is called "We Need Ellison's Experience."
No.
All right. And that's by Mike Freeman. And Mike, I'm afraid you've been hit on the head playing softball or something because Ellison is
Do you really feel,
answer.
honest to God, do you really and truly feel that Mike Freeman is a fan of Ellison, or do you feel he felt some sort of pressure to go through these motions? Knowing Mike Freeman, I'm going to chime in with he's not 100% on board with Keith Ellison.
Well, he certainly sounds like he is.
Have you seen his ads?
He went on record.
I know, but I'm just telling you, he doesn't seem like that kind of guy.
But the second letter, unheadlined, is a letter championing Jim Schultz. Well, why couldn't that have been placed ahead of the Ellison letter? Why did the Moriarty, not Dimmick letter lead the letters? Why couldn't that be letter number 5 down here without its own headline?
You know why.
Well, is the answer bias?
I think it's a combination of bias, and I think it's also that's the letter everybody reads before they move on.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. So you're saying the Moriarty thing is an example of bias?
The placement of it.
It didn't have to be in that location with its own headline.
But 2 days ago they endorsed Dimmick, the newspaper. That was their lead. That was the big editorial on the left side. They endorsed Dimmick for the position.
Here's John to set us straight.
Pull me back from the ledge, Johnny.
What about the Attorney General letters?
Yeah, well, it could have gone. Yeah, you're right. Either way, I don't know. You know, I read them, but I don't remember.
Mine's all ripped up.
Well, one is Keith is the man. That's by Mike Freeman, and the second one's by a guy named Ronald Haskvitz of Golden Valley, who says Keith's not the man. You're right. They did endorse Dimmick, and maybe to prove their I don't know what. Never mind. You're probably right. So forget Moriarty, not Dimmick, as the lead letter as an example of bias. I'm going to let Heidt defeat me in ignominy.
Well, that's where I admitted to
that, Joe.
No, it's the same thing that I admitted to John when we had our argument. Sometimes my own bias sees things that aren't there, or that you know what I mean, that aren't probably not a big deal.
All right,
I think that's normal for everybody.
All right,
you know,
but I do see it in the 2 Keith Ellison letters. That's just the placement is.
The placement, yeah, but if you get a letter from Freeman, you got to print it, don't you?
Yeah, that's a good point. He's the Hennepin County attorney, isn't he?
Would you agree that if you're of a liberal bent, if you put the other one first, then could that liberal person make the same argument?
I suppose. Never mind. It's a lousy topic.
Okay.
Good night.
I don't think it's a lousy
everybody.
topic. And what I'd like us to get into is the phrasing and the words and the way they write some of these pieces, because that's where my ire gets up.
No, I think I think Heidt stumbled on something.
And well, an example would be climate change and how it's just automatically assumed and printed that way without questioning if it's real or not.
Yeah, there's no more questioning.
It's accepted fact. In every news story you read, it looks.
Yeah.
Well, how about this piece? Tell us again, who's in charge of Minneapolis police? I won't read the whole thing, but it's a really good piece by a guy named Richard Grealis of Bloomington, a retired police officer. All he is pointing out is you've got an Office of Community Safety, and then you have a police chief, and then you have the mayor, and then you have who's running the show? He doesn't know where the buck stops.
Cedric the Entertainer.
When it comes to public safety. And I just think he made a great point. When this nonsense is over, perhaps the city can hire a good police chief who will in turn promote good street supervisors and will run the department with integrity, offering justice and fair treatment for all, and the expediency which is needed in police work. All these other players are redundant wastes of taxpayer dollars. And I guess I'm biased because I agree with them.
And when I read that piece this morning, all I could think of is what the letters to the editor are going to look like tomorrow and which one is going to be placed on top. Seriously. So I think it's a good topic, but we might have been shut down in that case.
Well,
predict which one of these editorials is going to be the play letter tomorrow. Which one of these opinion pieces?
Rookie.
Yep.
Go to the Star Tribune website. Go to the Star Tribune website, because I don't want to criticize them if I'm wrong.
What am I looking for?
You're looking for the name. What the hell's the kid's name? The guy that Dante Wright shot just died.
Well, didn't I print that out for you?
You did, but why is his name isn't here?
Let me look.
My God, what piece did you print out? The
Fox News.
Dante Wright's victim is not in the piece you printed out for me. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong
Caleb
page.
Livingston.
I'm sorry. You're right. Rook, see what is the most recent piece the Star Tribune has on a fellow named Caleb Livingston, just the way it sounds. Now, he died. He was the fellow fatally who was shot by Dante Wright. But the focus would be, of course, that Dante Wright was canonized by the left because he was shot by an evil white police officer who happened to be a female, Kim Potter. And we have forgotten that, and he certainly didn't deserve to be shot, but we have forgotten that Dante Wright was a hardened criminal who, prior to this traffic stop in which Kim Potter made the terrible accident of shooting him, Caleb Livingston was 16 years old in May 2019 when Wright allegedly shot him in the head at the Full Stop gas station on Lowry Avenue North. I suppose what Keith Ellison would do about that is attempt to shut down the Fuel Stop gas station.
On November 21st of 2019, the Star Tribune published a story speaking of the mother of Caleb Livingston. Her name is Jennifer LeMay, and it's a piece about how she basically had to wipe away all of her savings in order to provide medical treatment for Caleb.
My point is, has anyone locally reported
that
Caleb
not
Livingston has died?
No. Joe, it's not on Google. It's just Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Rochelle Olson had a piece May 28th, 2021. Lawsuit claims Dante Wright shot permanently disabled teen in 2019. And then Dante Wright's parents forced to grieve in the spotlight. Matt McKinney and Kim Heidt, August 20th, 2021.
So criminals are heroes. Criminals are heroes.
No, I just think it's in the cosmic scheme of news, in keeping it in totality. I think it's newsworthy that the guy Dante Wright shot has died. Finally,
Absolutely.
And maybe that's a blessing. Apparently, he was terribly, terribly infirm. And paralyzed and couldn't speak or eat or anything, and he died finally.
Alpha News has it.
Yeah, okay. God bless them, but that's a news story, and I don't think you're going to find it in the local newspaper. You're confirming this, Rook?
Yes.
There's nothing in 2022.
There's nothing in 2022
about Caleb Livingston, or more accurately, nothing from October of this right now. There's nothing.
That is correct.
All right.
And I did it under the newest.
Kelsey notes you had to go to the Daily Mail to find it. Well, okay. Daily Mail had it, yeah, but so did Fox and so did Alpha. But I just thought it was newsworthy to even remember that guy. Hey, remember Dante shot this guy? Well, the guy finally died.
Yeah, definitely newsworthy.
Yeah. It takes nothing away from Kim Potter's actions in this case, but I continue to firmly believe, and so did the judge ultimately, that she just made a dreadful, dreadful mistake. Mm-hmm. And she's going to pay for it for how many more months? I have no idea. But it's interesting to note that the Star Tribune, which was heavily invested in condemning the behavior of the police, has not had a single word about the fact that this poor guy died. And his life had been nothing but misery since he had been shot by Daunte Wright. Why don't we return with John Heidt to clarify just about everything?
Half a century, 50 years for Redmond's Flooring and Design. Many trends have changed over that time, so that's why you want to plan. You want to have a design set for when you call or visit their store in Anoka. They got a great showroom, by the way, where you can pick out your carpet, pick out your hardwood, tile, vinyl, waterproof. They've got everything there for you. And again, I do mention that they work with Mohawk, the biggest name in flooring. And Redmond's does have a wonderful history. If you want to see what people say about them, go to their website. It's redmonds.com, REDMANNS.com. The design part, they can pick out a plan for you if you're not certain. You might go in and say, we want green shag. Well, they'll go ahead and order the green shag for you. That's fine. That's your own personal choice. But they're not going to do it overnight. They're going to take their time with installation, with the design. That's why you're sitting pretty when you check out Redmond's Flooring and Design. Free estimates. Mike and his crew do a fantastic job. Again, check out the reviews. Make sure you have a plan, or if you don't, let them give you a plan and show you how much brighter your kitchen floor, living room floor, basement, whatever the case may be, can be. 763-316-3332 for 50 years. 50 years. Redmond's Flooring and Design, online at redmonds2ns.com.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
Yeah, this is an early 70s movie song. I'm seeing Pam Grier.
Rockford.
Yeah, it's good Rockford music.
Yeah, maybe too hip for that Cracker Rockford. Oh, nice. So the Hoopleheads here in the boathouse probably don't care, but a lot of us GLers do. The divers are moving through Minnesota, the ringbills, bluebills, the cans, the redheads. Finally, duck hunting season is fun and interesting. If you need to restock on ammo, or maybe you dropped that scattergun in the pond last weekend, get yourself into DK Mag's Old 8 up in New Brighton. They've got shotguns for all occasions. Oh, even pheasant. Wasn't the pheasant opener last weekend? Upland birds. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you like to walk your ass off in tall grass, I hope you've shopped at DK Mag's. Small game, big game, they can get you set up with the rifle. And both DK Mag's and Monticello Pawn and Gun, they've got smithing services. So if you acquired your grandpa's old Model 12, but there's no way you're putting a round in there, bring it to them. They'll check it out and make sure it's safe and ready for you. And one more thing. If you consider yourself an expert in the firearms and accessory world and you need a gig, now's the time. Get a hold of them. They're hiring good people, GL-style people. They've got a great selection there, fair prices, and the most wonderful staff of GLers you'll ever meet. And that's for both locations, Monticello Pawn and Gun and DK Mags. Check out the website, dkmags.com.
Here's John Heidt.
Thank you, Joe. And before I get to the news, let me tell you about Rivertown Medical Center. They're bringing you the news today. Dr. Larson, Rivertown Medical Center in Stillwater, specializing in regenerative care and regenerative cell therapy. It can help you out in a lot of ways. Right now, though, let's talk about peripheral neuropathy. Neuropathy, as you know, if you have it, causes pain, numbness, tingling in the hands or feet. And your doctor, they might tell you, probably already have told you, not much you can do about it except live with the pain. Well, there is. The pain is commonly caused by a lack of blood flow to the nerves, and that causes them to die off. At Rivertown Medical Center, Dr. Larson uses new treatment methods, and they can provide relief as long as you don't already have 85% nerve damage. Now, to find out about all this, you can join Dr. Larson for a free 1-hour seminar about this breakthrough treatment this Saturday, 10 in the morning at the Doubletree by Hilton in St. Louis Park. RSVP by Friday, 651-661-4311. Everyone there gets a free neuropathy scan. Again, at 651-661-4311. Saturday, the Doubletree Hilton in St. Louis Park at 10 a.m. with Dr. Larson and the Rivertown Medical Center. In news, Roseville police say a homicide suspect is in custody after a shelter-in-place order was broadly issued Tuesday morning. I have a new desk. Did you guys see that happen?
Yeah, I sure did.
My desk just rose about 2 feet.
And I heard it.
Yeah.
Hey, now, it's just happy to see you.
Stop the presses. No black players in the World Series, a first since 1950?
Well, that's not true.
How could that be?
I was going to say
put that?
three-quarters
There's no
of
way that
Houston's
could be
team
true.
is
Well, I
ethnic.
don't think they can. Dominican. I don't.
So
think
we're
they
not
consider-
counting Dominican as a man of color?
Well, I'm assuming they mean African American.
Well, yeah,
use
but
that
this
word.
phony vice president we have passes herself off as an African American.
We're going to hear from her later, by the way. I have it.
Is it the message I just sent you, Chris? Check your phone.
Oh.
There's a delicious tweet waiting for us on Twitter right now.
All right. Thank you, Kenny.
No
Okay,
black
well-
players expected in World Series. Let me click on it. Well, you got to be kidding me.
I love when you guys ask for 500. Let me see. That can't be true. The Phillies, I know, don't they have, what's his name? The outfielder, Johnny, help me.
There's plenty of Latin players,
All right.
but no African American. This is eye-opening, said Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. It is somewhat startling. The two cities that have high African American populations, there's not a single black player. Really? Wow. Wow. Well, Dusty Baker manages the Houstons.
What, are we supposed to be outraged by this? I mean, it's not by design.
No, it's not
I'm
by
looking
design
at
at
the picture
all.
of the Philadelphia Phillies, and all I see is diversity.
Yeah, but you're seeing Latin American diversity.
They're the best players.
All right.
Rookie,
I agree.
We're not diverse enough.
Wow. Okay.
The percentage of African American players in MLB, Major League Baseball, is only 7.2%. So I guess that
Really?
may line up, huh? Yeah.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Seven-
By
But again, that
0.2%.
phony vice president passes herself off as an African American.
You mean this phony vice president?
Your leadership, Mayor. Thank you for the warm welcome. So here's the thing. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus? Right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus? Right? There's something about
hands in the air.
and most of us, many of us, went to school on the yellow school bus, right?
Jeez.
And it's part of our experience growing up. It's part of a nostalgia and a memory of.
I never rode a school bus, you miserable fruitcake.
I didn't either. I watched.
She was also speaking. This is from yesterday.
You miserable fraud. Oh, my
Not
God.
to mention, I grew up in a household where the term mammary gland was used all the time. To any of the
Jesus
scientists
Christ.
here, you'll know what that means. Hormones. It was that was part of the conversation at the dinner table.
I'm a hell of a family.
One heartbeat away.
Well, back to the news now.
Thank you, Ken.
Roseville police say a homicide suspect is in custody after a shelter-in-place order was broadly issued Tuesday morning. We discussed this yesterday, but there were no details yet. According to Roseville Police Chief Erica Scheider, who spoke during a news conference yesterday afternoon, police responded at 10:23 in the morning to the 1100 block of Ryan Avenue. When they got there, officers found one person pronounced dead at the scene, as well as two people with serious injuries and two people with minor injuries. The suspect, later described as a 17-year-old male, had left the scene by the time officers got there. Scheider said a preliminary investigation revealed the suspect, the person found dead, and the four people found injured are all family members. An individual who received the original emergency alert contacted police to report seeing the suspect near the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Police were then able to take the suspect into custody. Shelter-in-place warning did cause some chaos and confusion around the Twin Cities. It reached phones in parts of Ramsey, Hennepin, and Dakota counties. Ramsey County officials later said this was accidental. Only a small section of Roseville was supposed to get that alert.
Okay, stop. That is completely unacceptable. They sent a dozen schools or more into complete panic mode. And that's unacceptable. And a simple apology to me isn't good enough. You need to reassure us that this will never, ever happen again.
I guess I have an odd thought about this. Who gives a bleep?
Oh, well, if you had kids in any of these schools, you would have been essing your pants.
The kids of the kids were put into lockdown.
Yeah. Well, you should give a bleep. What the hell's wrong with you?
Well,
that's
what
the question.
Too
You're the
cold
guy
for
that won't
recess
buy.
Anyway.
You're the one that won't buy your kid and your grandkids a new car from Schmel. So that doesn't surprise me.
They have to walk to school. They can't
That
even take
attitude.
a yellow bus.
Yeah, yellow bus for you.
Get on the
brats.
bus, you little brat.
Former President Trump announcing endorsements for 2 Minnesota candidates Tuesday. Earlier yesterday, Trump endorsing Kim Crockett, the Republican candidate for Secretary of State, running against Steve Simon. The Democratic Farmer Labor Party responded by citing Trump's false claims about the 2020 election being stolen, saying Crockett has echoed those claims. Then late last night, Trump endorsed Scott Jensen for the governor's spot. He's running, of course, against incumbent Tim Walz.
That ought to do it.
Both endorsements came on Truth Social, a social media platform created by Trump Media and Technology. Neither candidate appeared to have expected that endorsement. The Associated Press reported Crockett was surprised by Trump's announcement.
Sorry, Johnny, I'm just putting these last nails in the coffin here.
Oh, geez. In a press release, Jensen's campaign said they have, quote, not actively sought the endorsement of political leaders, but were grateful.
Well, okay. See you later.
Right.
I hope you kept your patient list.
Speaking of
that, I think Rookie's right. That's pretty much going to kill any chances
in this
of
state
of any crossover.
We're surrounded by Mysterians, and would it have behooved Jensen to say I reject the endorsement?
No,
probably not, because he would have alienated his base.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Who don't have anybody else to vote for.
Right.
Speaking of races, as we're nearing, less than 2 weeks to the election?
Are you talking?
So a week from
yesterday.
2 weeks from yesterday.
Jim Schultz for Attorney General on Twitter.
Yes.
10 minutes ago, just dropped a bombshell at Jim4MN, which the Garage Logic Twitter account follows, and I urge all of you to do as well. He has got a series of fact checks and lies from Keith Ellison relating to the food fraud program.
Wow.
And basically how his office completely let this fly without investigation. It's fascinating.
Oh, good stuff.
It's a thread, and I urge all of you to check it out. He just put this up 10 minutes ago. Wow. Basically, Ellison could have put a stop to this and didn't.
Okay, will the conventional news gathering institutions see that as a story?
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah.
From the It Might Be Time to Take Stock of Your Life file, a 16-year-old was arrested early Tuesday morning after police say he stole a Kia and led officers on a 28-mile chase. Ramsey County Sheriff's Office said the teen had 9 previous arrests for fleeing, possession of weapons by a person under 18, motor vehicle theft, and assault. He's also on probation in Carver County for possession of stolen property and possession of a firearm. This all started about 12:45 in the morning. A St. Paul police officer reported the Kia had been reported stolen and sped past him. Ramsey County deputy was nearby, tried to pull the driver over, but he sped off. State Patrol helicopter took over the chase, which went on for 28 miles, going into Minneapolis before coming back into St. Paul. Driver came to a complete stop on Sherburne Avenue, and deputies caught up to him as he tried to flee on foot. At that point, deputies noticed the teen had a GPS monitoring bracelet on his ankle, and he seemed to be in pain. The teen told officials he had been shot twice on 2 different days, once in the stomach and once in the leg.
Wow.
Neither injury appeared to have been treated at the point of his arrest.
That's no way to go through life, son.
All those charges and a couple wounds when you're 16. Yeah,
Right.
You got nothing but
What
it's
was
got to
it,
go
fat,
up from
drunk,
there.
and stupid?
Right.
Yeah. The Kia was returned to its rightful owner, according to officials.
Why is he roaming amongst us? in all
Thank
honesty?
you. Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Is it sentencing guidelines or is it soft judges?
Well, he's 16.
Prosecutors?
Yeah.
It's a juvenile, so I suppose they release him, the parents, whatever. I don't know. A lot of charges, though.
Bring back vigilante gangs.
No, you don't, Kenny. A 3-year-old girl is recovering at a Minneapolis hospital after police say she was shot over the weekend. Family said they were at home Saturday night when gunfire erupted outside the Minneapolis residence in the 2200 block of 5th Avenue North. Pictures of the bullet holes shared by the family show damage to the front door, the siding of the family's home, and inside the bedroom where the little girl was sleeping next to her mother. She underwent surgery for a wound on the side of her head and ear. A few details have been shared by Minneapolis police about the shooting. The department said officers from the 4th Precinct responded to a call about shots being fired outside around 10 p.m. Minneapolis Police Department spokesperson said no arrests had been made so far in that case. Officials in St. Louis say a school shooting there is a tragedy, but it could have turned out much worse. The shooter, who killed 2 and injured 7 others at a St. Louis high school this week, used an AR-15 style rifle and had more than 600 rounds of ammunition with him, according to police. Orlando Harris, a 19-year-old former student of Central Visual and Performing Arts High School, had ammunition on a chest rig and in a bag, and dumped other magazines in a stairwell and corridors, according to interim St. Louis Police Chief Michael Sack. Police got the initial call about the active shooter at 9:11 in the morning. On Monday, officers entered the school at 9:15, engaged Harris in a gunfight about 9:23. He was shot about 2 minutes later. Sack also read from a handwritten document left by Harris saying, "I don't have any friends, I don't have any family, I've never had a girlfriend, I've never had a social life, I've been isolated and a loner my entire life." Sack declined to comment on how and where Harris obtained the weapon. He did previously say the school's doors were locked and there were 7 guards on duty before the shooting, and that the school had metal detectors. St. Louis officials identified the 2 deceased victims, 61-year-old health and physical education teacher Jean Kuska and 15-year-old student Alexandria Bell. The teacher died after putting herself between the gunman and her students to protect them, according to the students.
What a hero. Wow.
Yeah. Former Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan yesterday doubled down on his view that Donald Trump is not the right candidate to represent the GOP in the 2024 election. In an interview with Fox Business's Stuart Varney, Ryan suggested the new swing voter in American politics is the suburban voter. And it's really clear, he said, that the suburban voter doesn't like Trump, but they do like Republicans. So he added, I think anybody not named Trump is much more likely to win the White House for us. Ryan pointed to Republican losses under Trump. He said, my party hasn't lost this much, this fast than we have with Trump. We lost the House, the Senate, the White House, all in the space of 2 years. I don't want to repeat that. I'd like to win. Ryan's always enjoyed a not great relationship with the former president. He also predicted the GOP can win back control of the House. Said he felt pretty good as well about Republicans taking the Senate.
But you can't seem to negotiate with these folks. Rhinos, as they call them, are just as evil as socialists to these people. They're in the same group. And that's that's a non-negotiable fact to them.
We're doomed.
But there are voters, I agree with him, that will vote Republican if you don't have the scepter of Trump hanging over.
Right.
I know some of those people, maybe.
I met with some of our young leaders this morning on our way here, and one of them said to me, I said, well, what is today about?
Oh, God.
And they said, saving our planet. Saving our planet.
Gotta save it.
So the youngest of our children understand not only their power,
no, they don't,
but the importance to them of saving our planet. And I guess that's what brings it home in terms of the concluding point. We owe it to our children.
I just see the burning fires.
To right now take these issues very seriously.
Oh, shame on them.
The clock is ticking.
I keep thinking
loudly.
she's done.
We are witnessing around our country and around the world the effects of extreme climate.
Shame on them for duping and lying to these kids.
The clock's ticking, Kenny.
The kids say that because you're saying that.
But I love when she speaks.
She's black. She could be a baseball player.
If when she's nodding constantly, as if to get your approval. Like if I look at Joe and say, Joe, get it? See?
I go like this.
Joe. I'm guessing.
Don't black kids play baseball in urban America anymore?
Not so much, no. That's been true for...
Just a shame.
Remember 20 years ago, Torrey Hunter was trying to
What
get
was
more
the
black
program?
kids
There was a program.
involved.
Was
Well,
it called-
I'd contribute to it. Is there still a program?
I think it was called the RBI.
You
program?
kids are crazy to play basketball.
Why, John?
Baseball is where it's at.
Why what?
Why do they avoid baseball?
I don't know. More kids.
Cheap.
Well,
Can I,
basketball's
can I,
cheap
can I
too.
take over as a guy?
No,
that
Go ahead,
It's a
Mr.
town
Reaver.
hall.
No,
It's
it's tuning
I
them
don't
out.
think so.
You
It's
play with a bunch of white, fat insurance
old
salesmen.
drunks.
Okay, Dip.
Yep.
Careful.
This
Careful.
is a case of kids today, and this is why I hate the modern game. Baseball is too boring to kids, and it doesn't matter what race they are. Not enough kids are playing baseball.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's the problem. And shame on MLB for continuing to put out this crap product that they're putting out. The modern game is boring. Sorry.
Up here in Andover, they couldn't put together a league about 3 years ago because they didn't have enough kids wanting to play baseball. So Chris is correct.
Such, did you play baseball as a youth?
Mm-hmm.
I tried it for a year and
would've struck you
discovered
out.
I can't run, I can't field, and I can't bat. So
I wasn't
quit.
very good.
Yeah, no, I was awful.
Well, I couldn't see.
It was the RBI baseball program. Reviving
Is
baseball.
it still there?
As far as I know, because it's still on MLB's website as of March of 2022. It stands for Reviving Baseball in the Inner City.
Well, aren't the Twins a big part?
Big
of,
time.
Yeah,
Yes. Yep.
they're a big time.
Well, I'm sure every ball club is, but you still can't. The distinction for the World Series was there are no U.S. born black players that are playing in that, so they're really splitting hairs.
They're discounting the Latin American kids.
And I'm
the
sure
Dominicans. Well, that is Latin America.
every ball club probably has some program like that to inner city kids, or
I believe this is an MLB effort. It's not team by team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you find you found the interview with the Dirtiest Man?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
You'll have that after the news.
Got it.
But it's getting to be 9 years old.
Well, that's what are you going to do? Huh?
All right.
He was dirty.
I'm guessing we'll hear more about this news as it more comes out. 3 Florida men have been arrested for allegedly stealing $9 million worth of frozen meat across the Midwestern United States.
We closed. We out of meat.
That's a lot of meat.
Yoslani Leva del Sol, Ladier Machine Andino, and Delvis Fuentes, all from the Miami area, face charges of money laundering and transportation of stolen goods, according to Homeland Security. The trio are the alleged masterminds behind what the HSI described as a Florida-based, sophisticated, organized criminal enterprise that targeted beef and pork packaging plants here in the Midwest. The investigation began into the multi-million-dollar theft ring in June after several semi-trailers and loads of frozen beef valued at about $1 million were stolen in Nebraska's Lancaster County. Lancaster County Sheriff's Office worked with the HSI field office to identify 45 different thefts that occurred since June 2021 across Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Wisconsin, totaling $9 million in losses. Investigators determined an organized criminal enterprise set up in Miami was responsible, and on October 20th, they identified and arrested those 3 prime suspects. As the men were taken into custody in Miami, investigators also recovered 3 tractor trailers with stolen merchandise valued at almost $500,000.
Wow.
HSI said in a statement, this investigation is ongoing and part of the HSI Omaha and Lancaster County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Task Force. Images and videos show homeless people in Los Angeles siphoning water and power in camps sprouting throughout the city's streets. And in fact, some of them are hooking up to lights to get their electricity to run working washing machines on the street. Homelessness is a dominant issue in the state's upcoming mayoral election, with a large field of candidates promising to do more on an issue that's placed LA in the national spotlight. Sagging tents, rusting RVs, and makeshift structures have become commonplace along Hollywood Boulevard to Venice Beach and even in the shadow of City Hall.
So they are providing toilets and now washing machines?
No, they're illicitly hooking them up to water supplies.
Yeah, the city's not telling them to. They're just doing it.
Damn, that's crafty.
Yeah, it is. Use that mind to do something good.
As you know, I have a relative living out there, and he says it's amazing. You can drive for miles.
Who's out there? Your cousin?
See all the homeless folks living on the street. He says it's bizarre as hell.
Speaking of that, Such, I watched an episode of Rockford Files yesterday. What the hell with that hovel on wheels behind the bar? That thing looks like it needs to be bulldozed.
What are you talking about?
The trailer he lived in.
Oh, it was always decrepit.
He was squatting in the back of a bar parking lot.
Yeah, but look at the view he had.
And that's all of L.A. now.
Yeah.
Rockford started it.
In Great Britain, a radio host who died while broadcasting on air.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Is being described as a dear friend and all-around lovely man by those who knew him and worked with him.
Hello?
He was 55-year-old Tim Goff. He died suddenly while hosting the Gen X Radio Suffolk breakfast show on Monday.
You know what? Doing what he loved, John.
Yep. He was thought to have been broadcasting from a studio at his home at the time. Uh-oh. The station said, nothing. Station said, it's with the heaviest of hearts that I have to inform you our dear friend and breakfast host Tim passed away this morning while presenting his program. He grew up in the village close to Bury Street, Edmonds. I'm sorry, that'd be Bury St. Edmunds, Suffolk.
know Barry.
And began his broadcasting career at Radio Orwell in
boy.
1986.
Well, I think he had a great career.
Kenny
He went
here
on to-
for Maple Grove Lock and...
By the way, they don't have morning shows apparently in Great Britain. He worked the breakfast show.
Oh, isn't
Apparently
that
they call it
wonderful?
The breakfast show. He presented the breakfast show on Saxon Radio and SGR FM as well as
Well,
appearing on
he was fairly young, wasn't he?
Well, 55.
That's
Oh, radio will
fairly
age you.
young.
It'll
and
radio will age you.
broadcasting
Yes,
from
it will.
home.
Yeah.
From home, yeah, Kenny. What do you think about
Well,
that?
John, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, that was
Amu
hurtful.
Haji.
Amu Haji, yes.
We
Amu, yeah.
interviewed him 13 years ago
Wow.
when he was crowned the world's dirtiest man.
Oh, they awarded him, did they?
So we found that interview. We'll play it for you in just a moment. First, I want to tell you, did you see the weekend weather forecast?
Sure
Another
did.
great weekend
Yeah.
for scooter riding and electric bike riding and golf cart riding. If you get one of those new golf carts from EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake in Burnsville. In Forest Lake, the EcoFun store is on Highway 97, immediately west of 35. And down in Burnsville, the store opened this summer. That is right on the service road near 35E. And if you call now, you can reserve your storage space for this winter. And they do the battery tending and the tune-up and the whole deal. That's for electric bikes, motorcycles, and scooters. And GLers, you buy a scooter this month, you get $100 off.
Huh.
You buy a golf cart this month if you're a GLer, $500 off. And when you buy it this month, they will store it for you for free this winter. You don't have to take ownership until next spring when the riding season begins anew. But there's still lots of time left to visit EcoFun Motorsports for the scooters, the electric bikes, the youth ATVs, helmets, apparel, service. Just a great outfit. We thank them. They've been with us for a long time. Those two stores, on Highway 97, immediately west of 35 in Forest Lake, and on the service road down in Burnsville off 35E. It's EcoFunMotorsports.com.
What's your deal today? Why are you so rushed?
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores,
not Thursday, Brad.
sifting through the nuts and bolts of life.
Oh,
Joe Souchere.
wait, no talking over this one. Against the post.
Never want to be afraid to let the dice roll. I like my chances even when my
How come when I bob and weave, there's a delay, but when Kenny does it, there isn't a delay? Huh? Look at Kenny. That's real time. He's moving to rhythm, but I'm real late.
I want this
Chris is unconcerned about your being late.
I want 10 minutes of that song.
Well, do it after the show.
We have the annual Franklinstein sales event happening right now at Maple Grove Lock and Safe. That's through November 7th. You'll get monstrous savings on the Franklin line, Franklin 23.
Scary low prices.
The Franklin 40 and the Franklin 50. It's almost like Matthew wrote these copy points, isn't it? The Franklins, they're all Liberty safes. That means made in the USA, transferable lifetime warranties, and as I and many others have said before me, the best built safes in the whole wide world. Now, Rich, the owner of Maple Grove Lock and Safe, Rich has got himself a phone number, and he'd like it if you'd use it, 763-494-9075. But Kenny, the guy on the podcast, says, check out the website. That's a good one, maplegrovelockandsafe.com. The brick and mortar address where you'll go for the big Franklinstein Safe Sale is 6901 East Fish Lake Road in Maple Grove. The Franklin Safes, 23, 40, and 50 on sale through the 7th of November. maplegrovelockandsafe.com. Bring that back up. Come on, I want to hear that song.
Chris, do you have
not going to happen.
The old bit, the tape? Could you hit the button, please?
Okay.
Hello, Amu.
Hello, this is Joe.
No, I'm Joe. You're Amu Haji.
Yes. Good. Pleased to meet you.
And why, sir, are you known as the dirtiest man in the world?
Can you hold, please? Please hold.
Yep.
Please hold.
It's 13 years ago.
Do not come to the door. I'm doing interview. Yes. Come back later. Thank you for bread. I'm back.
Amu, why have you not wanted to clean yourself up?
Well, I do not feel the need to shower right now. My skin is dark, and it is okay. And I am in Desga, Iran. This is the town of Desga, and the villagers are good to me.
Have you ever had a girlfriend?
No.
Do you want one?
Do you have any leads?
No. You'd have to clean up first.
This is problem.
It says here that you have fears of getting sick from the water.
I am afraid Iranian water is not mostly clear. You can get sick from drinking it, or I believe to bathe in it. You will make you sick.
Mm-hmm. Now you
but
had
I have a good life.
The reason we're calling you in 2013 is that you had a short documentary film about you called The Strange Life of Amu Haji.
Yes, they come with the camera and see where I sleep. I have a small house of brick.
Mm-hmm.
It's comfortable, but not it is okay. There's a lot of trash around this place.
All right. Thank you for that interview. We'll talk to you later. Thank you.
No. I want to read a poem to you.
Poem?
Poem.
All right.
I want to explain. You might understand what I like and love.
All right.
This poem. I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty. Anything ragged or rotten or rusty. Yes, I love trash. Here's some more rotten stuff. I have some newspaper, 13 months old. I wrap fish inside it. It's smelly and cold. But I wouldn't trade it for a big pot of gold. I love it because it's trash. You know who authored this poem?
Who?
I do.
Oscar the Grouch.
Right.
On Sesame Street.
I didn't know you had that on TV, and I read.
I know of. I have newspaper here, sir.
Yes.
So I understand in your custom there are people who are like me with trash.
Right.
I have seen documentary.
We call them hoarders.
Well, this was not hoarder. Lamont, Lamont on the documentary surrounded himself with trash.
All right, thank you, sir.
He lived with his father.
Right, thank you.
You also know Snoopy?
Yes.
Yes, Big Ben. He's one of my heroes.
Right, I can see that. Thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Hey, maybe I'll talk to you in the future.
Maybe. All right, thank you.
Bye.
And of course, yes?
If you're ever in Desga, Iran, you come to say hi.
Okay, thank you.
Good go. This is goodbye.
Yes, it is.
I will go now to find Red.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Bill Stein up in Aiken had a reverse.
That was our interview back in 2013.
That was it from 2013, and that's why we lost the show. We've been saying, what are you going to do this weekend? And people have been saying, I'm going to can apricots. Well, Billy Stein tried it up in Aiken.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well, he said, I've been following the conversation on apricot canning. I realized that many of the people in the service industry must have taken the same course in salesmanship, asking questions like, do you have big plans for the weekend? I love the GL answer. I'm going to be canning apricots. Recently, we have had a great new barbecue place open in Aiken. The food is great. It is run by a Marine vet and his wife and son. Great food and great people. His son runs the till and takes orders. He always asks if I have any big plans for the weekend. Yesterday, when he asked me his question, I thought, now's my chance. I replied, I'm going to be canning apricots. Much to my chagrin, he answered, apricots? My family loves apricots. My mom has a great recipe for apricot jam. Would you like it?
Wow.
Crestfallen, I now have a great recipe for apricot jam. So it kind of backfired on him.
Should have kept his mouth shut.
Kind of backfired on him, didn't it?
I want to hear more about the mom.
Which mom?
I have 2 apricot trees.
Where?
Oh.
I really love your peaches. I
On
want to
your-
see you shake your tree.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Nope.
I'm saving this.
Did I screw that line up?
Downing wants
screw
us
it
to
up,
know.
yeah.
You messed it up. I did.
Want to shake your tree. not
Shake
see
your
you.
tree. That's
See
what it is.
Because it means,
Downing wants us to know that the pumpkin patch under the Highland Water Tower is open today through Halloween.
Today through
So
Halloween.
he has it open during
I'll
the
probably end up driving by him at some point.
has it open during the week.
I still have some floral stuff I need to drop off. at
Rook,
your
to
house.
get ahead of the rush of the email.
Still have more?
Just 2 Rubbermaid things. I
Well,
won't
I
bring
don't
them.
want
I
'em.
won't bring them to work.
I
I'll
don't
bring 'em
want them.
directly
I
to
don't
you.
want them.
To get ahead of the rush of the email inquiries that we're going to get, is that interview going to be available on the Garage Logic Town Council?
No.
I think we could stream that one.
No.
There's
too much.
If I remember, you let him off pretty easy. You
I
didn't
did.
really.
I
you
did.
didn't really go into his
I
life
did.
that much.
I did. That's fine. We'll just leave that.
May he rest in peace and never surface again.
Well, he did die.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, may he never,
Oscar the Grouch.
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga, South Africa. It's a park. Marloth Park.
There you go.
Yeah.
From the Traveling Lyman's. On this day in 1950. 1950.
Joe, today is October 26th.
Edward Calvin Kendall and Philip Showalter Hench, Mayo Clinic doctors, and Thaddeus Reichstein, a Swiss doctor, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine for their development of cortisone.
Huh.
Yep. Back in
Wow.
1950.
I bet that's what they named the shot after.
Cortisone. On this day in 1960, what happened in the local world of sports?
1960. Well, it has to be World Series related, right?
No, because we didn't have the Twins.
No,
till
this would have
61.
been North Stars.
After the season. No.
We were awarded. We were awarded a National
Franchise.
Football League franchise.
Wrong. Calvin Griffith decided to move his Washington Senators to Minnesota, where the baseball team was renamed the Minnesota Twins. So that was on this day in 1960. So on October, what's today?
26th.
On October 26, 1960, we all learned that we were entering the major leagues of baseball, and they played as soon as the following spring.
Question for you, Joe. I never made it to Met Stadium.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
Was it charming?
Yes. It
It
was
doesn't
one
look-
of the erector set era
It
ballparks.
doesn't look charming.
It was charming because you were outside and it was, you looked yonder and all you saw was farm fields. And
I was only in the outfield. I was never in the infield.
What was, other than inside baseball sucks, was there any other thought or talk of building another outdoor stadium? Just an upgrade?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, one of the plans that preceded the what the current football stadium is and the current baseball stadium was kind of a Kansas City arrangement where you'd have a new football and new baseball out there.
Next to each other.
And you would have had parking and this and that and the other thing, but the cultural trend shifted to more urban locations.
And multi-purpose venues, right.
So there you have it.
That was such a horrible baseball stadium.
What?
The dome.
Oh, it was just terrible.
Yeah.
Dump.
I wish someone wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
Well,
there once was
Met Stadium does not.
I wrote
it doesn't
about Met
look.
Stadium.
That's what I guess I meant.
It doesn't look charming in
Well,
the
there
photos
was,
to me.
either did Milwaukee County Stadium, either did.
They were basically the same, weren't they?
The culture went through a period of what we call the erector set ballparks, and then you started to get the new ballparks, and then you had domes, and then back to the new ballparks. Both Pittsburgh and Philadelphia are playing in relatively new ballparks, but they're third-generation ballparks.
Right. In fact,
Philadelphia was Scheib Field, and Pittsburgh was Forbes Field. Then Pittsburgh went to Riverfront Stadium,
All right. Okay.
which
All
was
right.
multi-purpose.
All right. That's enough.
Philadelphia
That's
went
enough.
to Veteran Stadium,
Okay.
which was multi-purpose.
It was a yes or no question.
Kenny, if you go to Target Field now and you look in right field and you see those colored panels, that brings back memories to me. And Joel,
Yeah, they had
remember
colored
this,
panels.
outside the Met. So that always brings me a warm feeling whenever I see that. So,
John, did you go to? Were you at the Met? Did you?
yeah,
go
we for about 3 years in a row, my brother would take me down to see Yankees Twins games in '66, '7, '8, '9, right in that era.
My memories of Met Stadium are the snow cone, the rainbow snow cone, and some moron always climbing up the foul pole. I think that happened twice when I was at.
Was it your brother Paul?
It wasn't the poor. The poor was still pretty young. He maybe hadn't started his career yet. And Bob probably had a couple beers and just drove us back home. And those were good memories, though.
What was the name of the movie that was shot there during a Vikings game? I have a friend, actually Tom Cook, the drummer guy they call him, was an extra in that movie and in the crowd.
At Met Stadium?
I'm unaware of a movie filmed at Met Stadium.
Yeah. Okay, can we be done now?
There's a lot of Met Stadium
All right.
stories.
Let's go here.
Calvin wondering how they're going to get a jet in.
Thank you, GLers. Thank you, GLers.
We're not done with this day in history.
Yeah,
we are. What happened, Chris? What do you got?
Into deep left center from Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Was that on this date?
31 years ago.
October 25th. We don't even start the World Series till Friday.
No kidding. That has to be one of the two greatest sports moments in Minnesota sports history.
What would the other one be?
Well, them winning it the next night.
Right? I think it was the year the Vikings won the Super Bowl.
See, you just have to.
That's right. Never mind.
You just have to be a jerk.
Zinger.
He's got a lot of nerve this year talking, doesn't he, with his woebegone Packers.
I tell you, they're pretty bad. Let me tell you.
Yeah, Aaron has nobody to throw to.
Same thing with the Yankees, too, right?
Roy Smalley just sent out a tweet about 19 hours ago. Thank you, everyone, for all the very kind birthday wishes. I'm having a glass of great wine and thinking about 35 years ago today, what that meant to all of us and how we shared it together as a community. So that would have been the 87 win.
Right.
That's right.
That same day you got a hole-in-one.
No, that was October 22nd.
Oh.
No, October 25th.
Yeah. Which is when he sent this.
I got you, Ken.
He sent this out yesterday.
Is that it?
Are we done?
We done here.
Well, if you are not done, go to PodMN and find out all sorts of baseball podcasts, I'm sure, that you can find in their library. That's PodMN on your smartphone. And then when you sneak over to the YouTube page, subscribe to Garage Logic on the YouTube page. More importantly, subscribe to the Garage Logic Council. Go to garagelogic.com. It's pennies on a dollar. It's $100 a year or $10 a month. You do the math.
After today, you really think they want to?
Yes, I do. I really do. We got great stuff off the
Oh,
air.
hey, wait. New Krabby Coffee Shop today.
All right.
Oh, that's
Really?
right. Yep.
It was a fun one.
All right.
Yeah,
Did you
McLean
guys-
was wound
Was
up.
Dawn on?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll tune in.
Thank you.
All right. Once again, thanks, GLers. Check it out. Don't forget to...
Hello, everybody.